All right, everybody, thank you very much for coming. My name is Brian Robinson, and I am one of the co-founders of Save Our Sonics and Storm, and now one of the co-founders of A Deal is a Deal Committee. We are here to announce the submittal of a public initiative, which my colleagues will go into in a great bit more detail. But I wanted to first just give some clarifications and introductions. I want to thank Julie Mann for hosting us here, or Julie Main, excuse me, for hosting us here at the Mainstage Bar and Grill. Mainstage Comedy Club, did I get it right? A lot of people have asked me why we chose this venue and said, oh, is this a joke? You take this seriously. But the reason is because this business is directly across the street from KeyArena. It's directly impacted, and we felt it was very appropriate symbolically to host this press conference in a place that part of these people's livelihood depends on the KeyArena. So thank you for Julie for having us. Thank you for other members of the Queen Anne business community for coming here and supporting us. And really in the spirit of this thing, this is all about the people who are affected, be they fans, be they businesses. So in that context, join me up here on stage. Big Low, everybody knows, is a super fan. I'm not going to go into everybody's name in terms of the business community here, but we have Paul Schneiderman, who has provided legal counsel for A Deal is a Deal, and my co-founder, Stephen Pyatt. There are a number of people in the audience who have helped us out a great deal. And I want to offer some thanks to Mr. Chris Van Dyke, who's here in attendance. Obviously, it's a bit of a story when anti-stadium activists gets involved with people who are trying to build a stadium. And really what we found is that on this particular issue of enforcing the lease through 2010, there was a great amount of broad support. And we actually had a lot of common ground on this one issue. And I think it's a real testament to the concept of working together and cooperating that we have managed to have a great deal of really productive dialogue. So we're very thankful that he's in attendance, and we look forward to actually working with him on a long-term solution that might make him and his constituency happy and retain the teams long-term. We are very committed to being a part of the long-term solution for the Seattle Sonics and Storm, and we don't in any way intend to get involved in something that could be detrimental to the process. All parties involved, Professional Basketball Club LLC, the city, have stated their desire to participate in discussions regarding a long-term solution, and we don't in any way mean for this to distract from them or in any way get in the way. What we do believe is that it is very important to the process that early on we establish this community will stand up for itself and hold professional basketball ownership to its commitment in terms of its lease, and that is going to be part of the process that will keep the teams here long-term through the discussion, and it won't in any way be an obstacle. So with that, I'd like to introduce my co-founder, Stephen Pyatt, who's going to say a few words about the initiative we filed this morning.
Thank you, Brian. I also want to thank everybody for being here today. First, I want to kind of reiterate a little bit what Brian said, is that our goal in this thing, our goal is to keep the Sonics here long-term, another 40 years, or whatever. But in the short term, we need to make sure that we keep them here long enough to get a deal done. And sometimes in negotiations, you've got to take both parties, lock them in the room, shut the back doors, and say, don't come out until you have a solution. And we feel that's what this initiative does. It kind of locks the back door for both the City of Seattle and for Clayton Bennett. We think Clay Bennett is a good man. We've heard that he's a man of integrity. He said coming in that he was intended to honor the lease. And when you say things like that, you generally mean them, but over time you may forget what you said. And we're going to remind him what he said by locking the door behind him. The same with the City of Seattle. They need to come up with a solution. We have a situation where everybody keeps saying, well, what's Clay Bennett going to do to solve this problem? It's not Clay Bennett's responsibility to solve this problem. It's our responsibility to keep our asset. And this is something that's valuable to the community. It's valuable to businesses like this. The employees here are making a livelihood off of this. These business owners have invested their life savings in many cases to having these businesses here based on the Sonics being KeyArena. And if the city were to allow them out of their lease early, we would see people literally losing their businesses, losing their savings, losing their jobs, and we just can't tolerate that in our region. So This is basically a commitment to honor and release by both parties. We're going to do it for them if they won't do it themselves. And it's going to preserve the legacy of the teams for our region and preserve this asset. So with that, I want to bring up the legal team. We have three guys, Mark Lamb, Aaron Wolf, and Paul Steinberg, who have been fantastic. These guys identified the specific performance clause. These guys discovered how the charter works, discovered how this initiative can be ironclad, and they guided us through a process that frankly we had no idea how to do. So with that, I'll bring Paul Steinberg up here to explain his part.
Thank you, Steve. I'm sure the microphone works okay. It's absolutely my pleasure to be here today. I had the privilege of getting connected with Brian Robinson and Steve Pyatt earlier this year. And my original involvement came just being a passionate fan of the Seattle Supersonics and strongly wanting to keep the teams here. That has evolved even more as time moves on in terms of what is happening with the whole Seattle Supersonic and arena situation. First of all, my two legal colleagues who also have greatly assisted in this effort could not be here today. That's Mark Lamb, the Bothell attorney. Mark has tremendous experience in issue election law, and also Bellevue trial attorney Aaron Wolf could not be here. What happened in this situation? I'm going to briefly go into the specific performance clause and also the initiative effort. This initiative idea was actually the idea of my colleague Aaron Wolf. Brian Robinson and I and Aaron Wolf one day in May had a brainstorming session at Tully's Coffee, not Starbucks, in Mercer Island. And at the meeting, Aaron Wolf came up with the idea of looking into the initiative option. And things since then, a lot has certainly happened. Let me first real quickly review the specific performance clause. I don't want to get too legalistic or too much legalese. Let me give a quick background. Specific performance is a very unique background in doctrine and contracts law. What that means is that a contract must be enforced. A lot of contracts, when a breach occurs, one party just pays off the other party. But specific performance is very unique. And after inspection early June of 2007, we observed there is such a clause in the existing Sonics KeyArena lease. We had a meeting with Tom Carr, one of his top deputies, Greg Yarbert, who were very well prepared. And Mr. Carr, the city attorney for the city of Seattle, the elected city attorney, did agree with our interpretation. There was an enforceability clause in this lease. We also, through further research, learned about a Minnesota case that dealt with the situation. There was an attempt by Major League Baseball and Minnesota Twins ownership apparently to try to get out of that particular lease. And an appellate court in Minnesota denied them and enforced the enforceability of the specific performance clause. We have a similar such clause in this situation. Now let me move to the initiative. What we're trying to do with the initiative is create some public policy regarding sports leases, professional sports leases. And what we want to have is we just want to have professional sports leases existing in the future enforced. We simply want them honored. If it's a 10-year lease, it'll be a 10-year period. If we have a 20-year lease, it'll be a 20-year period. So that's what we're seeking. We're not seeking anything radical here at all. We're simply, as a matter of public policy, want to make existing and future leases enforceable. Now, one important thing, this current lease already has an enforceability clause. It already has such a clause, and we're just simply requesting the city respect and enforce that particular clause. Article 4 of the city charter allows for the citizens through the initiative process to deal with an issue that's related to municipal, business, or local affairs. And we believe under either of those prongs that this initiative is legally valid and could be legally binding. A lot of issues are certainly up for judicial interpretation, but we are confident that this initiative process that deals with this particular public policy situation can be enforced. I appreciate everybody's time. Now let me turn this first over to Brian Robinson.
Back in for just one moment. I did want to point out very quickly, we submitted this initiative at about 1 p.m. today. We were signed number 93 for initiative 93. That is our expectation. that we will be proceeding forward with that number. And really, we didn't quite take the concept behind the initiative is that it specifically bars the city from entering into a new agreement which allows the team to vacate the premises early. Our concept is that the public makes a public-private partnership that they invest significant dollars in with a plan of return over a period of time that they have to get what they bargained for. And that's why we term this a deal as a deal. 2010 is the year of the lease, and our concept is a deal is a deal. It says 2010, but let's make sure that no discussions occur otherwise. I'm going to turn this over quickly to Julie Maines, and after that, I'll be available for individual question and answer. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Mainstage. On behalf of the business owners of Lower Queen Anne and Seattle, any Sonic's move or potential Sonic's move has a devastating impact financially and otherwise on every person who lives in Washington State. Financially, as a global player, this has ramifications that I don't think anyone is really taking the time to take a step back and look at. Real estate, media, globally, this will be devastating. And as such, not just because we're across the street, but because we're also fans and because we're also citizens, we want very much for the ownership and for the city of Seattle to do everything that it can to sit down and talk this out. On a personal level, the Sonics have been in Seattle longer than I've been alive, and are an institution. And my son plays basketball, and my family has had a season ticket for as long as I can remember. And I brought my own pictures of my son at his first Sonics game when he was 9 months old, all dressed up in Sonics gear. And this is something that has an impact on every child that plays basketball. In any rec league, in any school team, they're able to get in the car and drive down to KeyArena and see their professional team and be inspired by that. And so I'd like to encourage all of the people who are involved in basketball on any level in the state to please contact the mayor, to please contact the city, and encourage the talks and encourage the continuation of the Seattle Supersonics to be our own sports franchise. Thank you.
And that's everything. We're all available for individual comments. And again, I'd like to thank some members of the business community who came here and encourage all of you to talk with them, because this day is really about the people who will be affected if this decision is made. Thank you.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth!
I think he's got a real clear understanding of all the issues and a real good grasp of all the issues.